Welcome to Breakroom Mom.
Well, thank you for having me.
This is a Breakroom Mom first, too, because you are the first male that I've interviewed.
Oh, really?
I don't know how you feel about
Should I feel intimidated at all?
You should feel honored, I think.
Oh.
I think you should feel honored.
Well, thank you. I am.
Anthony, you are the founder of Anthony Brenner Coaching. Mm-hmm. So you have what I think is like a very cool job where you travel all over the world internationally and you work with young athletes, particularly soccer. Mm-hmm. And they are like on the cusp or brink of like becoming professional or playing in like ultimate leagues. And so you're helping them kind of achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. And so cool, by the way, just like such a cool niche job. And so when I heard about this and I heard about your approach, which is, you're very focused on like the mind-body connection mm-hmm. and you work with athletes in a different way, right? It's not just as simple as focusing on the ball and the technique all of the time. You do mm-hmm. that, obviously. Mm-hmm. But when I heard about that, I was like, this is a slam dunk. I'm going to talk to him about his work with kids. I'm going to talk to him about how he brings in that mind-body connection, like all that kind of stuff. But then as I got to talking to you, I realized there is so much more to your story and how you got here mm-hmm. and what drove you to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, so we're going to dive into your story. Let's go to the beginning. So, Anthony, yeah. I want to hear how in the world you got into this business. I know you were a D1 athlete yourself, so maybe we can just like take it from the origin story.
Oh, goodness. Okay. There's a lot. So I think a really important part of the story is my childhood. I'm the oldest of 6 children, and 4 of us were Division I athletes. My father was a Division I athlete, but my dad traveled a lot for his job. So he was gone for sometimes 5 nights a week for a lot of our childhood. And I became a parent very early in my life. And it was a role that I really, really loved. And I knew that I wanted to be a dad from a very young age because I was learning how to change diapers and make meals and help with the children's tantrums and learning behavior and what kids needed at different ages. And so when I look back, that really kind of laid the foundation for me to do something with children. And I heard from my parents and other people that knew me and my family from a pretty young age when I was a teenager and a little older, they would always say to me, you need to be working with children. You need to be working with children. So I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. But I didn't realize until in the last decade that the coaching that I'm doing now really started when I was about 13 or 14 years old because my younger siblings were athletes. And on top of that, not only athletes, but we cooked a lot. I cooked a lot with my mom, so I learned how to cook. And then I would teach my siblings how to cook and do stuff around the house. And so there's a lot of teaching. And so I learned from a really young age how different ages and different genders learn differently. And so that really set the stage for all of that.
Okay, so you had D1, like a family of D1 athletes, basically. So was it an expectation that you guys would become athletes? Like, did you feel like that? Or did it was just like, it just was natural? Like you all were just born with these like athletic gifts and continue to refine them?
For me, quite honestly, on a human level, at that time in my life, I felt like that was my only option. I grew up with a diagnosis of ADHD from a very young age. I was always the kid, and I just recently read a bunch of teacher notes in front of my mom and my wife and my youngest daughter just like 5 days ago.
Oh, no kidding.
That I hadn't seen before. And I shouldn't have been in school. I was the kid that was literally just staring out the window at the birds and the clouds. And there were notes by the teacher that said, when he's not looking out the window at the birds and the clouds, he's much more present and able to do his work. So I felt no other option because I didn't feel smart. I felt like I was an athlete and a big brother, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I subconsciously related that to this is my only path. So when I ended up going to college and being an athlete, I just assumed that was going to be the thing for the rest of my life. I was going to go and play college sports and then I was going to be a pro. But I knew that I didn't want to be a student. I knew that I wasn't going to do well in school. And that's kind of what happened.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's interesting that you had that perspective of not being good at, or feelings of not being good at school, when really it was probably just like the convention or the environment that you were in, because there's different ways to learn, obviously. But I have to imagine that helps you as you work with different kids kind of adapt your teaching style, because you know that some of the conventional ways of learning probably didn't work for you.
100%. And I think that's a really great point, because I was a creative person. So I grew up doing a lot of art on my own and being very creative and always coming up with silly, out of the box ideas that my parents necessarily weren't really excited about at the time, because I would never follow the rules. It was always something a little wonky, or a little screwy, as my dad would say.
A little screwy.
Little screwy. And that was his nickname for me for a long time.
That sounds like a dad phrase.
Yeah, totally. So my approach in coaching now is very outside of the box. And because I've learned to appreciate that there is a child like me, or there are children that maybe learn differently than me. So trying to look at all of the different ways that I can teach through sensory input, whether it's visual, it's auditory, it's tactile, it's any type of sensory input. All of that is really important and plays a big part in the way that I relate to the children, because everyone's going to take in information completely differently and at different levels and be focused differently. So I guess they're the benefactor of the struggle that I had, but that's kind of been my life, has been, what is the gift in all of the struggle that I've had? And I've been able to find it, because there is. As difficult as life can be, there is always a gift if you slow down and you're still enough and you pay attention. There's something there. There's some magic there for you.
Yeah. Thus, no tantrums. Okay, so was it soccer? Like when you were a kid and you were an athlete, was it soccer? Was that your, among all the other sports, was that your passion?
It was. It was the sport that I started playing from a really young age. Didn't do much of anything else. And then at the end of my high school career, the American football coach came to the soccer practice in high school, and his exact words were, "Can any of these jerks kick a ball hard?" And my art teacher, that was the head coach, pointed at me. And so I started kicking field goals, and I happened to be better at kicking field goals than I was at playing soccer at the time. So that's what I ended up going and doing in college.
That's right. So you went to East Carolina.
I did.
You were a kicker.
I was.
And you won a pretty exciting game.
We did. And I know I'm sitting in Raleigh, and this could be a little sensitive subject, but the last game that I played in was when we played North Carolina State in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta in 1992 on New Year's Day, and we won. So that was pretty amazing experience.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the hard stuff that happened in college?
Yeah.
Because you had some loss.
I did. Something I didn't touch on earlier when I mentioned that my dad traveled a lot. We were really fortunate to live, like, I guess, kind of on this farm-ish kind of compound west of High Point on 17 acres, where it was my family and then my grandparents and then my aunt and uncle and 2 cousins. And we all lived like literally right next to each other. It was really amazing place to grow up. But the reason I bring it up is because my grandfather was that person for me. I felt like he was the person that didn't see me necessarily as an athlete, didn't see me as the older brother that needed to set a good example. He didn't see me as the kid that was a little screwy and did things differently. It was just love. It was just pure love. And the year before we went to the Peach Bowl, he took his own life. And it was tragic. It was tragic. Mm-hmm. And so when I experienced that, I had something to work towards because I wanted to make him proud. Mm-hmm. And so I dedicated the next year of my football career and the success to basically to make him proud. And when that game was over, I was sitting there left with, okay, what now? Mm-hmm. What now? So my life basically fell apart. The emotion of his loss and everything just really hit me. And as I mentioned earlier, I felt a huge responsibility as an older brother. Even though I was maybe doing some screwy things and maybe some pranks and stuff like that, but I felt like I felt a duty to my 5 younger siblings to set a really good example. So I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't really party at all until I was out of the house because I didn't want them to experience that from me. So when this happened with my granddad, it just all came off the rails. I started drinking and I got kicked out of school. I flunked out because I stopped going to class. And the crazy part of the whole thing, which added a whole nother layer of trauma for me, was that season during the Peach Bowl. I had a really good season, and that was technically my sophomore year. I had 2 more years to play. And I was in a big publication in preseason called Street and Smiths. I don't even know if it's around anymore. But it ranks all of the players and the teams for the following season. And I was a preseason All-American going into my junior year. So there was a lot of hope around my future, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so when I flunked out, that was gone, basically. Not only in my eyes, but in everyone that was in my circle. So the amount of disappointment and just shame that I felt for disappointing them so much was it was so immense. And it really took me a long time to kind of process that, honestly.
Yeah.
I was 40 basically before I was able to really move through that and manage that and navigate it. So that was a difficult time in my life. And I kind of got back on my feet a little bit. I moved home because I had moved away for a while with a friend, and we were just being crazy in Florida as, 20-year-olds, being silly. And so I came home, and that's when I met my now wife.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer, we love.
Yeah.
You hear about this all the time, or not all the time, but I think it's common with athletes, with singers, actors, or whatever, where it's like they have this identity based on what they've been doing. Then there's some major life event. They kind of power through, but then at the end of that concert, the end of that milestone, the end of that movie or whatever, it's like you're still sitting with that loss. Mm-hmm. You're still sitting with those hard feelings, and you tried to power through. And, I imagine that there was so much pressure on you and so much sort of your family and others looking to you, like watching your ride. And then to your point, like it just crashed and burned. And so you probably had kind of a loss of identity of like, who am I anymore? Coupled with, I've just disappointed all these people that were counting on me. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine.
Yeah. And I've come to realize now at 55 that I held my dad specifically very responsible for the guilt and the shame that I felt, because I felt like I really disappointed him. But I think now I know is all a projection. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. I don't think he was. I think that I'm sure there was some disappointment. For sure. As a parent now, I understand a little bit of disappointment. But it was more so my ego basically just in the driver's seat at that point. Mm-hmm. And it was really guiding everything that I was doing when I was an athlete. Sure. Honestly. Yeah.
Sure. Can we talk a little bit about athlete culture too? Because I kind of have to chuckle at some of the examples that you shared about a coach coming and being like, can any of these jerks kick a ball? Like just some of those things that you hear and you kind of cringe now. Like, how did that shape you as a young man, a young kid, and then a young man? Like, athlete culture is something.
Yeah.
There's something there. And so, like, how did that shape you, if it did at all?
This is a very interesting question, and I don't know that I've ever had that question before.
Oh, okay.
But I think my wife and I have kind of touched on it, and we laugh about it a lot because I'm a very sensitive person, very emotional person that has historically taken everything personal. And when you've got a coach like in the early to mid 80s that is using the word jerk and yelling and screaming, I'd feel like a 5-year-old, like, why is he yelling at me? But I'm on a team with 100 other men. I didn't feel like a man. I felt like a little child that was being yelled at. And that honestly was part of me the entire time as I was in college and I played professionally. The one coach that I had when I was playing after college, he didn't like that I was pranky and joyful and like silly. He wanted me to like follow the line. And so there was a lot of like, this guy's a lot like my dad, you know, like do the right thing, follow the line, don't step off the line kind of thing. And he didn't care for me at all. And so he and I really, really butted heads, and he ended up trading me because I guess
you couldn't get it to work.
No, I couldn't. I was too sensitive to be an athlete at that level. I just happened to be a little good at something, but at the end of the day, I'm right now exactly where I need to be.
Yeah, for sure. Anthony, you do know that those feelings are tied to ADHD, the rejection syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Where you take everything personally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm learning all this as a parent to an ADHD child. It's like they take it so personally. Everything.
Yeah. And this identity thing that you brought up earlier is it's very easy for us as an ADHD brain to be very attached to the identity. And my identity was you are not smart, you are stupid. And I heard that. Like I actually heard those words by a lot of people. And so on top of not being able to accomplish something that everyone around me was accomplishing, and then also hearing you're not smart, or you're dumb, or you can't remember that, or why can't you remember that? Why can't you do it like everyone else does it? It's just like piling. It took me until I was around 42 years old, to be able to recognize all of this. But it wasn't until more trauma, deeper trauma, that created the conditions for me to even look at those things, which I'm so grateful for. And as I mentioned earlier, there's always a gift in all the trauma. And that was just another example.
Yeah. You have such a good outlook. Okay. So you credit Jennifer with saving your life. You've said that to me.
Yeah.
So where we are in kind of your journey story. So college, kind of crash out, kind of get back on track. You meet Jennifer. She's the best thing that's happened to you. Where are you guys now? What are you doing? Because you're not going back to school. Did you ever finish school?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No, we just fell in love, and I fell in love first. It's a funny story that we have that I know this is a sensitive word to say, but I kind of stalked her a little bit because I was so like, I felt like somebody actually sees me as the human, and I wasn't a football player to her. I wasn't a soccer player to her. She didn't even care about that.
Sure.
So there was something that she saw in me that she was just there. And it was one of the first times in my life, I think probably the first time in my life, that I felt like, oh, somebody isn't seeing me as a dumb, screwy kid. or a kid that can't follow the rules or seeing me as a soccer player or a football player. It was just me. And that felt really good.
Like a grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys were living in North Carolina at the time.
Yes. Yes.
And then you started playing professionally at some point.
I did. Like the year after we met, I got inspired to play again. She kind of didn't say it, but it just, the happiness and the joy and the feeling the energy of life again kind of came back. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty good at that. Let's go try it. So I signed my first pro contract and I played for a year, and then we decided that we wanted to start a family. And at the time I said, I don't want to be the dad that is gone all the time and being a pro athlete. But what's interesting is, and we'll get to this part a little bit later, I was saying that, but that was just my ego. Like, I want everybody to think
I'm like this mega
I'm
great
like this
dad.
perfect dad that he's foregoing his professional football career to be this perfect husband and father. And that was not the case. It was only for selfish reasons. Because I just wanted everybody to see me as this perfect thing, which now looking back at the mind of that person at that age, it's no wonder I felt for so long that I wasn't seen or appreciated for who I was. So I'm like, I'm just going to take advantage of this moment. Yeah. And so I did. And then it just snowballed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
So you and Jennifer are together. I know you start your family. Bailey comes first.
Bailey does come first, 2001. Yeah. We got married in 98. So we were together for 3 years before we had Bailey.
Yeah. Talk to me about Bailey.
We were living in Florida at the time, and I was coaching, and Jennifer was a school teacher. And we had Bailey, and it was magical. And then everything was great. And then we had a moment when she was 6 months old that I'll never forget. She starts having a seizure, and it lasted for 15 minutes. And during this 15-minute period, luckily we were a mile from the pediatrician. So Jen's driving, I'm holding Bailey. She's still having a seizure. And we get to the pediatrician's office, and she's clearly seizing in my arms. And we say to the lady, the receptionist at the front, hey, we need to see the doctor right now. We don't know what's going on. She was like, just take a seat right there. And I couldn't control myself. We just barged in the back and like went straight to go find the doctor.
Yeah.
I didn't even care. And so kind of fast forward a little bit because it's a long story, but we end up going to Miami Children's Hospital, and we were there for, I think, 3 straight weeks, 4 weeks or something, with all these tests and all these things. And she was still seizing every single day. She's almost like a doll, like not really seeing, not really hearing, not much movement. And then the seizures, they didn't stop. It was every single night. And we just got basically this doll that is seizing and eating and drinking and breastfeeding. And that's basically it. So we come back to Orlando, and just keeps going. Right. So still no answers. We go to Johns Hopkins. We're traveling all over the place, and we're spending so much money and getting in a tremendous amount of medical debt. And we're disconnected from our immediate family. We're in Florida. They're in North Carolina. So they don't really know like how bad it is.
Sure.
And there's no sleep. Like no sleep at all. And that went on for 14 years.
Oh my God.
So it's either 1 or 2 nights of sleep where she didn't sleep at all. And if she was sleeping, one of us is like this.
Of course.
Just waiting for the shoe to drop kind of thing. So then we got pregnant with Avery. And Avery was born, and she was healthy and happy. But we were always like this. Like, okay, when is this going to happen to her? But the really interesting thing is, I'm going to back up a little bit. Jennifer and I have always, and literally not for even a split second, with all of this with our children, have ever not been on the same page about how we parent.
Wow.
And we said, we are not going to allow these circumstances with Bailey to have an impact on Avery based on our choices and our inability to see that this can impact that.
Sure.
So we were very, very conscious, and we were very aligned on the way that we were going to parent Avery in a very different way than we did with Bailey. Not saying that we did it all perfect. I am certain that there were moments. But all I can say with confidence is that we were aware, we were conscious, and we were present with what we were saying, why we were saying it, what we were doing, why we were doing what we were doing as parents for both of them after Avery was born. So then this debt is piling up. I can't remember, like $250,000 or something crazy. So somebody says to me, why don't you go back and play and help pay off some of this debt? So I talked to Jen. She was like, let's give it a go. Let's see. So I went out. I hadn't kicked in 6 months, 9 months, except for just like training some kids. And I sent a video to one of my ex-coaches that was a coach in Denver on the team that John Elway was the owner. He had just started a team in Denver. So I sent the film and they signed me like just right away. It was like, yeah, we want to sign you for the next year. So we decided that I was going to go because not only was the money really good, but there was just lots of benefits, lots of support from the organization. So I moved. Jen was in Orlando, school teacher, with a 4-year-old disabled child seizing every night, not sleeping.
Oh my gosh.
And not even a 1-year-old, 2 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I drove truck across with all our things. And then they moved out. And the day that Bailey got to Denver, actually I made a mistake. She was seizure free for a year before we went to Denver.
Okay.
And we were able to control it through some natural means. We're able to isolate some things that she was really sensitive to, foods, things that she would drink, things in the environment. So we were able to kind of control that. So she was seizure free for a year. The day she moved to Denver, she started seizing even worse. Wow. So now Jen is alone with the kids. Bailey's seizing even worse, still not sleeping. Avery's 2 weeks old. I'm traveling every week, going away, traveling to New York or Philadelphia or wherever for games. And wow, I think back at just the superpowers that this woman has. And it was all in with the premise that this dad's going to come and save the day and raise us money. And it just even got more validated because as soon as NBC Sports found out that I came out of retirement to help my disabled child, and they interviewed me on live television on Sunday afternoon on NBC. And that was just so much of my ego and my younger self just craving that attention and craving that adoration. And the guilt and the shame that I felt for a long time for doing that to my wife and to my kids. But like I said earlier, what a gift. Because I was able to begin, which I'll get to a little later, I was able to begin all that healing, not just for me internally, but also with our relationship because she felt abandoned.
And you felt guilt and shame because, I mean, I can see all sides of it, right? It's the like Libra in me. I can see everybody's sides and things. But
I'm a Scorpio, by the way.
Oh, well, we are.
Yeah.
But I feel like you guys were in an impossible situation because you had to go make money. I mean, like, what are you going to do? You're just going to continue to pile up in debt, or you're going to leave your, your family's going to be living in this debt and it's only going to get worse because of interest and like that. So you had to go and make money. But on the flip side, your wife didn't have probably the core support system from you that she needed at that time.
No.
And it's like a little bit of like this like martyr story, right? Of like, I have to be out here doing this.
Yeah,
and so like
for sure.
that's the guilt and the shame that you felt.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't guilt and shame in the moment because I was telling myself,
The narrative.
I'm the Superman here.
Yeah.
I'm the one making this money and getting us out of debt. And I'm a professional athlete. Yeah. You know what I mean? Home newspaper doing stuff, NBC, ESPN, like all these things. And I didn't see it because I was so like wrapped up in myself. And so when that coach of that team that I said earlier, he didn't really like me and he cut me. It didn't cut me. He traded me to Phoenix. So I moved to Phoenix and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm making more money now, even though I got traded. And I'm going to a team where I already know all of the players because I won a championship with them in 1997. I played for Phoenix before Colorado. So I knew all of them and they found out about the story and all this stuff. But I want to go back to something that I just remembered. And nobody knows this story about John Elway. And maybe some people that are listening to this maybe have heard that name. But he's probably one of the top 5 NFL quarterbacks that's ever played in the history of this game. He was the owner of that team. When he found out about Bailey, he personally took a bucket and walked outside of the stadium before our games to the fans that were pre-gaming.
Oh, wow.
For them to put money in. He personally raised like $35,000 for our family.
Wow.
So what love that was.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So I got traded to Phoenix. Jen's there. Seizures still getting crazy. We're still trying to find all these different solutions, like looking all over the world. And she's like, I can't do it anymore. So she called her brother who lived in Washington, D.C. He flew out. They got in the car and they drove across country and moved back in with my parents where there was some support. So they were back there the day that she left Denver. Bailey didn't have a seizure.
Wow.
Crazy. I don't want to necessarily get into that story right now, but she was having a severe reaction to the environment. And we did some blood tests before and then after, and we correlated and we found out basically what was going on. So she didn't seize after we moved back to North Carolina.
Wow.
5 games into the season in Phoenix, I get hit in a game. Career over.
Oh my gosh.
I wake up. I'm in the hospital, basically like this. Neurosurgeon is like, look at your scan. Neck is trashed. Like 3 vertebrae just like that. And he said, you can't ever play again. And you're going to be lucky if you can walk. Luckily, I was able to. I had a really great surgeon in Phoenix. They took care of me. Jen flew out, had a surgery a month later. And I had this big neck brace on, come back to North Carolina. So now Jen is teaching. She's got a 2-year-old. She's got a 4-year-old disabled child that's not sleeping. I'm in a neck brace. I can't do anything.
Oh my God.
So this recipe for my wife was just really, really hell.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I know you talked about like you and Jen being on the same page when it came to Avery and all that kind of stuff, but I can't imagine there was not strain on the relationship between you two during this time. And there was, and it was, and she was fully conscious of it,
But I was just still so blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So blind at what I had done, what I had been doing. And she could just see it so crystal clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was, but we had to come together for our children and for Bailey, and to still care for both of them equally. Bailey wasn't more important than Avery. Avery wasn't more important than Bailey was. And so we were aligned there. And I think that was really, really beautiful for us to be able to do that, because just statistics of parents with disabled children, I think the divorce rate is like 75%, something bananas.
Yeah.
So I think that just at a foundation just demonstrates once again and again and again and again how much we truly love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit. I do want to talk about today, and I want to talk about your business, and I want to talk about how you work with kids and all that kind of stuff. But today, my friend, you have a college graduate. You have Bailey, who's just nearby. But I know you had to make an incredibly difficult decision as a parent, like the hardest decision as a parent that I can ever think about. And that was to put Bailey in full-time care away from you and Jen.
It is the hardest decision I've made as a human.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. But like I mentioned earlier, 14 years of not sleeping, 14 years of tantrums, and not just tantrums, like banging when we would make a wrong turn in her eyes. Coming back from school, she would bang her head on the window, bite herself, hit herself in the head with things. And it got to the point where she was 14 and 5 feet tall, 80, 90 pounds, doing all of this. And we physically were having a tough time managing it, not to mention like all of the other things, right? So we realized, and I said it earlier, Bailey's not more important than Avery. Bailey's not more important than you. Bailey's not more important than me. We are all equally as important here. And so when we were able to say that out loud and look at each other in the eyes and utter those words, and on top of that realize we can't create the environment she needs. She has to have Groundhog Day every day. Get up at the same time, eat at the same time. All expectations are met for every single minute. We can't do that. So that made the choice easier. And so we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was 14 and now she's 25. And it was the best choice that we made, because she is thriving and so happy and just so content, not seizing anymore. She's sleeping 8 hours a night.
That's great.
There's no behaviors at all. She's not like doing any self-injurious behavior at all. She's just at peace. And as hard as that was, it like makes our hearts so happy.
Yeah.
To see her. We went and visited her on Sunday, and it was just fills our soul up to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you saying Bailey's not more important than Avery, Bailey's not more important than me, she's not more important than you, that probably also saying that out loud was a way to think about, that parallel to like putting your oxygen mask on first and the sleep that you need and the care that you need and the ability that you need to flex your life and have days that are different than the day before, because that's just human. But I can't imagine. And I know that was incredibly hard. And I'm happy to hear she's doing so well.
Yeah, she's 15 years ago, if you would have said that this was happening, I would have never imagined that it was. And you brought up a really good point, that when you're in the middle of all of that we dealt with for 14 years, we are not being ourselves. We're not being authentic dad to Avery. I'm not being an authentic husband to my wife. I'm not even being authentic to myself because we're literally just surviving every day. And most of it was my wife. So I can't put myself in her shoes, but wow. Wow. Just the awe that I have for her still to this moment is just, I can't even put it into words. Yeah. She has single-handedly helped create the conditions, for all of this to happen, for me to be where I am, doing what I'm doing, what I love every day, for Avery to have just graduated college and be like the most aware and thoughtful and beautiful spirit.
Yeah.
It all comes back to my wife just being who she is.
Because moms are special. I want to talk a little bit about today, but I think in order to talk about today, we have to talk about your journey, because you've spoken this entire time about trauma, moments of kind of like self-realization, moments where your ego was driving. And so you'll have to keep me honest, but when was the moment that you did all this self-work and sort of introspection? Because you've done a ton, all the way down to these like silent retreats where you stay silent for 11 plus hours a day. Like, when did that come into play? Because I think that also was core to you being so successful at what you're doing as a business.
Yeah. And it all goes back to Jen. Honestly, there was a moment about 8 years after my surgery that I started to experience some like really severe ADHD symptoms. It's like, is this ADHD getting worse or what's going on? Really forgetful, like not really even remembering anything, not able to just orient myself in life. And so me being that 5-year-old ADHD kid again, when Jen's dealing with all that she's dealing with, is like, she said to me, I can't do this any longer. Something has to change. And I remember specifically where I was sitting when she said this to me. And right around that time was when Avery said to Jen, I don't tell Dad anything really anymore because he won't remember or he won't understand. So when those two things happened and I was internally experiencing like some crazy weird brain stuff, I was like, maybe there's something going on, like really going on. So fast forward a little bit, I went to a neurologist. They did brain scan and I had traumatic brain injury from my injury in 2005. And that was my 8th concussion. Most of them were just being the screwy kid, right? Jumping from one tree to another, kind of silly stuff. But yeah, it was a traumatic brain injury. So my immediate thought was CTE. How is this going to go? I was 43 at the time. So all of that kind of was this perfect storm for me to actually go and do something about what was happening. So once I got the diagnosis of that, I said, what do I do? What do I do now? So they sent me to a clinic where I would start doing neurofeedback. I literally went the next day, and having lived with this brain, and it's not really functioning maybe like other people's brains. When I was in the neurofeedback and after the neurofeedback, I immediately called Jen and I said, is this the way your brain works? Is this the way it's supposed to work? Like, I was clear. It's like everything was in focus. I was comprehending what was happening.
Wow.
And so that led me into, okay, what's the science behind this? What is this? Then that led me to, okay, mindfulness. What is that? Okay, meditation. What is that? So then fast forward a little bit, I went to my first 10-day silent meditation retreat. So it's 10 straight days of 11 and a half hours a day in meditation. And you cannot speak or interact with another human for 10 days, even though you're surrounded by them. It's, what's it called? Noble silence. So noble silence is not only you can't talk, you can't give eye contact. You can't have any human gestures. When you check into this retreat, you have to give them your keys, your book, journal, everything. You have nothing except your clothes and yourself for 10 straight days and 11 and a half hours a day of meditation. And that right there changed my life.
You were probably forced to sit with a lot.
I've done 4 of those since then. And amongst other things. But the meditation has changed my life. What that did for me being able to understand myself, understand my motivations, understand why my ego was so present, why I wasn't present. So now I just operate as I feel like a completely different human now.
Do you feel like you had an ego death? People talk about that all the time.
Multiple.
Really?
Yes, multiple times. Because there was so much to uncover. So many different parts of my ego.
Yeah.
The ego as the older brother, the ego as the athlete, the ego as the pro athlete, the ego as the guy that's on NBC and ESPN, the ego as the dad of a disabled child, the ego of, this great provider. Yeah, all of those just kept checking the box, ticking them off. And
wow.
Yeah, it was magic.
All this work that you're doing on yourself, I imagine for your family, they're seeing a huge difference in you. You're seeing a huge difference in yourself, which allows you to show up differently for them. And then today, talk to me about today, the kids that you work with. When you get I'm going to call it a new assignment. That might not be the right word, but you get a new client, a new assignment. What does that look like? What does the first 2 weeks look like?
Great question. And it's happening a lot right now, which is really great.
Is it the World Cup? The World Cup is like,
yeah, I don't know if it is. It might be. I just think that there's a lot of parents looking for answers and looking for someone that has an answer because there's so much information out there and you don't really know who you can trust.
100%.
Yeah. So back to the story just before that, after I started in meditation, that led me into getting certified as a holistic life coach and a certificate as a mindfulness and a meditation teacher. So on top of my classical soccer coaching kind of background, now I've been coaching for 32 years. And then all of that other mental and emotional support, it has just this beautiful kind of holistic thing for the family. And that's really where the difference is the work that I do now is most of the people that are reaching out to me are moms. And they're looking at more than, I just want you to make my child be able to kick the ball better. I think what really resonates with them is the fact that I'm very focused on the mental and emotional well-being of the child and the relationship between the child and the parent and vice versa, expectation, pressure, all of these types of things. And so they initially reach out to me because they go on my Instagram and they see that I'm teaching soccer a little different. And so that kind of piques their interest. But then when they read my website and they, hear me talk, I guess it resonates with families. And so what ends up happening is, perfect example, a month ago, a dad reached out to me from Miami and he said, I really love everything that you're doing. I've got 3 children that play and we just want something different and we want something more, deeper, richer, I guess. So last week I was in Miami for 4 days and I spent the 4 days with the family. And the beautiful part of this work is not only being on the field and developing these really authentic, rich relationships with the child, but also those in-between moments with the parents where they're so anxious about every choice that they make that they're going to be making the wrong decision. And the child that I went down there specifically to work with was 12. Already anxious because they're being told by their club or social media that if you don't make the right choices right now, you're setting your child up for failure and this whole FOMO thing. And so what I'm able to do is I'm able to look at them and say, I know you can't trust me because you don't know me, but please just listen. Take a breath. Everything's okay. And then help be the bridge between the reality of what's happening in their world that they're living in, which is youth sports, specifically to soccer, the amount of pressure and expectation that it has on the child, how their presence or not presence because of the pressure is influencing their relationship with the children, how they speak to their children, and how that whole vicious cycle happens. And so I am tending to attract families that are really wanting to look at it and do it differently than the standard practice of this is what you do every day because that's your goal. And if you don't work and you're not doing this and you're not doing that, then you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And so I just love being in that position because in about 30% of the cases, the mom or the dad calls me and is like, hey, you want to get coffee? And then I'm talking with them about their life and about challenges that they're having on a personal level, how they want to be a better mom and a better dad and a better husband and a better wife. And so like, there's just this beautiful symbiosis that kind of happens within a family from a soccer coach. And wow, it's just, I just love my life.
Yeah. What a gift you are to these families. Do you have kids that have, because of the pressure, like we talked about that, there's a lot of pressure and probably it's exacerbated by the parents without them even realizing it sometimes. Do you have kids who have just like fallen out of love with it and you're like reigniting that for them sometimes?
Yeah. There's a good percentage of families that reach out and they're like, we don't know what's going on with my child. They've kind of lost the lust. They've lost the sparkle. Can you help figure out maybe what's going on? Instead of, I think they read enough of my website to know that I'm not the kind of person that says, I'm going to come in and I'm going to fix this. We're going to change that. But I just want to create the conditions for them, the child, not the parent, to realize, have I lost my sparkle? And if I have, what is influencing that? Not you need to do something different or you're wrong. But if I have lost the sparkle, that is okay. I am not just the soccer player. I'm not just the athlete.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work that I do individually with players is that awareness building, inner awareness of why they're there doing what they're doing and the choices that they make and the way that they show up. Is that authentic to you right now? Because that is what I've learned, right? Over my life, I've learned that I have all the answers inside of me. I just needed a little, from my wife or from life to kind of awaken me, I guess, for lack of a better term, that I know intuitively that I have all the answers, and I want to gift that back to this struggling 14-year-old girl that has zero confidence because of the pressure.
Yeah, you're really working with kids like during some formative years, like not only from an athletics perspective, but just from a life perspective. So giving them tools.
Yes, I use that word a lot. And it just, soccer ball's a vehicle. But
it's a way in.
At the end of the day, the moment that I earn their trust as a soccer coach, that I can teach them something and that they're going to be a better soccer player, it's amazing how they will completely open up and begin to be vulnerable with me and say things to me that they've never said to their parents or even said out loud. That's where the magic happens. When the child is able to drop this identity of the soccer player and start to ask questions of like the person. Imagine 13 years old, 14 years old, asking these questions of yourself.
Yeah.
The evolution that takes place from such a young age where I didn't get that until I was 40.
Right.
Yeah.
Something I do with my guests, another one of these little like fun things. I'm hoping this one you'll do though, Anthony. It's called cheat codes, which normally it's usually the mom sharing like hacks, right? So I'll give you an example. The birthday parties. We're at these years when kids are like 6, 7, 8, where every weekend is a birthday party. So I have mom hacks that are like, in January, I buy 12 of the same thing and I wrap them and they're just ready to go for every single birthday party we're going to get invited to. So that's an example. But for you, my friend, knowing that you're speaking to parents right now, is there just one word of advice, wisdom, just like a do this every day or think about this, that can help them? Because you're right. We're all living with sometimes this. We all want to be good parents. I will say that. And it's very hard to discern from all the information out there.
Yeah. Great question. And I do have a good answer.
Finally.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We all have access to peace.
I like that a lot.
As crazy and as tumultuous as everything can feel in our life, we all have access to peace, and you only need a few moments. And I know all the moms will be able to relate with this. Just walking out of the living room with your children and going into the bathroom or into your closet can be a gift. During that moment, can you recognize that your brain is doing this? And instead of saying, brain, stop, my mind just needs to stop, just focus on one thing. Breath through your nose, in and out. Be aware of where the breath is touching the nostril, and just close your eyes and focus on where the air is touching your nostril for 30 seconds. And if the mind starts coming or you hear your children, close your eyes again, refocus on that breath coming in and out. That is one of the greatest gifts that I can possibly give to anyone, because it has been one of the greatest gifts that I learned from all of my meditation retreats is just that simple task. And you only need a few moments. It can be done anywhere, and nobody's got to know that you're doing it.
We all have access to peace. I love it. Anthony, you've been a joy.
Oh, thank you.
People can find out about you at anthonybrennercoaching.com, right?
It's just anthonybrenner.com.
Oh, no coaching needed.
My Instagram is Anthony Brenner Coaching, but most of that is all soccer.
Yeah.
But my website's got a little bit more flavor.
Cool. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, friend. We did it.
You did?
You have such a cool story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for allowing me to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've been in a situation where I've been able to authentically tell everything, because before it was just about how fabulous I was. But now it's like, all of this life, and it feels good to say it. It feels really good to say it out loud. That's cathartic.
Well, I think it's, to your point, it's not just about the professional player, the coach, the dad. It's outside of all those things. It's like, yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.